Welcome to Ladies of Another View on Back. I am so excited today. We have a great show planned. First of all, Amy is here. She's one of our new hosts. We're so excited to see Amy. But we're joined by Dr. Ted Fogerty and the Ag Commissioner, Doug Goehring. And Doug literally just flew into his chair like 30 seconds before the camera started rolling. So I want to welcome both of you to the show today.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Perfect. So Doug, let's start with you. Where were you today?
Well, I was on the road after I finished a bunch of meetings this morning and was actually meeting with some Chinese about our situation here in North Dakota. They, who are a bit food insecure, are a little concerned about what kind of production is available up here. It's not just corn and soybeans. The beautiful thing about North Dakota is we raise and produce quite a bit of spring wheat, sunflowers, durum, canola, flax, peas, dry beans. So they were really trying to get a feel and a sense for what's going on in North Dakota. Is it as bad as we hear? And they happened to be in the central part of North Dakota, actually near Harvey, and had a chance to see one of the areas that's deeply impacted. Not that most of the state isn't. There's times I'm out at my farm and I think it's the epicenter when I have barley only 7 inches tall. But yeah, it's tough out there. I think there was a little bit of verification. I think the other aspect to that is they brought a TV crew along and they were going to show a bit of what's going on out here.
Wonderful. Well, I'm so glad you made it. I understand you have a meeting after this too, so we just appreciate you coming on. And I know you and Ted, you guys have quite a relationship too.
Yeah, we actually, the first time I had a chance to meet Ted was we do the Bioscience Innovation Grant Program. Mm-hmm. And Ted happened to come and present on hyperbaric chambers, presented on some other things. From that time on, we've had a chance to visit, talk. We both share a scientific background and field, although Ted has a lot more extensive experience in that. I was in microbiology for a few years and
a few years ago.
A few years ago.
I'm just trying to take North Dakota ag products and become a cellular scientific Emeril Lagasse with you. But you know, going back to our project together, you know, that spirulina.
I still take it, by the way.
Yeah, that's
every day.
Spirulina. Our project, I had been studying and researching spirulina as it's the most nutrient-dense thing on the planet that you can eat.
So tell our viewers, what is spirulina and how do you grow it?
It is technically not an algae species. It's technically a primordial cyanobacteria.
That's what I thought.
Not actually an algae. And, you know, we don't want people going out there and going to their cattle tanks and picking out some algae that's toxic and got all these liver toxins in it. This is scientifically, growing this stuff up is a little bit of a task, and we have some great growers in America, actually. Earthrise out in California started growing spirulina, I think up to 30 years ago. And so when we got astronauts in space stations, you know, part of what they're doing in the biosphere of that little hyperbaric chamber flying through space and zero gravity is they're growing a little spirulina for some extra oxygen and supplemental nutrition and that kind of stuff. But, you know, to your point, we're in a drought, and you know, I came up with this wild and crazy Ted Fogerty idea in this little tech stream we had. But, you know, if our ethanol plants could hybridize and switch off and use a bioethanol kind of play from engineered algae in contained growing aquacultural and industrial settings, which I think they're starting to do in Iowa, you know, we could offset some of the market issues with, you know, corn prices skyrocketing and then the ethanol plants having a lesser market differential for what they're doing. So But anyway.
Add a little stability into
Yeah,
the market.
right.
But especially for the ethanol plants.
Right. But
Yeah, just to make sure that we're stating this properly, it isn't that the price of corn is high because we're using ethanol. The price of corn is high because we're short on corn in the global market.
Yes.
And it is a primary feedstock for
And
livestock.
some of that all goes down to transportation and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But I have a concept for our pandemic victory gardens. You know, I mean, theoretically, people could have their own little algae bioreactor. There's a kit you can get on Amazon and grow your own spirulina in your own home. And then you have what, in my opinion, as a United States physician, boarded in multiple states, the primary nutraceutical cellular shield. And spirulina has been studied in stroke models, rats that are on a tiny little percentage of rat chow, mixed in 0.3% spirulina. You do this stroke model on them, and their strokes are tiny.
Wow.
And this is all from
That's why I'm taking it.
This is all from our taxpayer-funded NIH grants and dollars that, you know, a University of South Florida researcher published this out of a VA lab, basically, and it's like, well, this was 2005, 2006, somewhere in there. And I've had, you know, one of my star students here who's now a practicing radiologist, Christina Tello, I had her write up a research paper on spirulina as the kind of the backbone primary radioprotective agent, which is also, you know, when we send people to Mars, we're going to be feeding these astronauts spirulina. It is just, it's got everything the body needs right there in one little package. And so in terms of the pandemic, researchers have been, you know, in Africa where food scarcity, malnourishment, you have all these HIV carriers who are, you know, women and children and in a very bad situation. And when you put them on a spirulina supplement and it's in their diet every day, they don't slide into what we call in medicine AIDS, you know, acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. And so there's all of this human intellectual capital and byproduct that goes into these non-proprietary, incredibly safe things that we should be using in the middle of a war against a virus. These RNA viruses cannot handle whether it's Zika, HIV, influenza. All of these RNA viruses have an Achilles heel of reverse transcriptase. Is the one gene that they all have in common that allows them to tack onto our genomics machinery and make copies of themselves. And so when you have high levels of glutathione, which spirulina supports, and also NAC, which is mucomyst, which we've been using in radiology and emergency medicine and pulmonary medicine for 40 years, it's a very simple concept here is that when we stimulate our mitochondrial energy centers, which we all inherit from our mothers, and we just increase that energy input, and we're fracking our own DNA with this great oil from green spirulina, and then we add some little oxygen in there and tune up the engines, all of these diseases end up being less of a problem. And, you know, I've been clinically using, you know, what we put together in patients here in Bismarck with some ivermectin too, and hyperbaric air therapy.
So Dr. Fogerty, we're going to have to
COVID.
We're going to have to take a really quick break, but we're going to talk more about spirulina. We're going to talk about ivermectin right after this when we come back on Ladies of Another View on BAC.
And we got to talk about beetroot.
And beetroot.
Respect, innovation, trust, and excellence. These core values can be seen in every building built by Straightway Construction. In the community for over 15 years, Straightway Construction has become the premier construction company for commercial projects. From dirt to design and framing to finish, Straightway Construction is your #1 choice. You won't have to look far to find a project that has that straightway touch. Call them today or go online to straightwayconstruction.com and let them make your vision a reality.
I'm Rick Becker from No Apologies. Welcome to your after hours oasis of sanity. Watch us weeknights at 9 Central on Beck News and online at beck.news.
Hi, I'm Dennis Haugen, along with my sons Andy and Mike, and we're showing our support for wind energy in North Dakota.
Wind energy has provided farmers like us with a steady stream of income that's not tied to the weather like crops and cattle are.
Another bonus is that wind farm owners are required to maintain the roads leading up to the turbines. Because of that, oftentimes these roads are the best in the county. Wind energy is good for landowners, it's good for the land, it's good for our economy, and it's good for North Dakota.
Calling all first responders. Join us Saturday, July 31st for First Responders Night at the Bismarck Event Center. The Bucks take on the Green Bay Blizzard with a 7:10 p.m. Central Time kickoff, and will highlight those who serve and protect our communities. For more information on tickets, visit bismarckbucks.com and download your free general admission ticket today. Saturday, July 31st, it's the Blizzard versus your Bismarck Bucks. See you on the 31st. Go Bucks!
Pub 21, your one stop for fun, drinks, and food. Our spacious facility provides COVID-safe fun for you and all your friends. With nightly bingo and specials, you can be sure there's something to do for everyone. If you're staying in for the night, we've got you covered just across the way with Pub 21 Liquor. We have a wide variety of options, from wine to whiskey and everything in between. Stop in today at 1014 South 12th Street in Bismarck to see what all the buzz is about. You won't be disappointed.
40 years ago, Aero Service Team started with one truck and lots of hard work.
Times may have changed, but the hard work that we put in to get your lives back in order after fire, water, and disaster hasn't.
Over the years, we've seen so many families lose their belongings due to water and fire damage. Restoring homes back to the original state has made every hour of hard work well worth it.
Thank you for trusting our family with yours.
When disaster strikes, you only have to make one call. Aero Service Team does it all.
Welcome back to Ladies of Another View on Beck. We have been visiting with Dr. Fogerty and Ag Commissioner Doug Goehring. And I mean, you guys are both such a wealth of information, but we kind of left off with spirulina and ivermectin. And then we talked about a few other things during the break about hyperbaric chambers. So why don't you share your knowledge for Amy and I? We're just rookies here. Just bring it on.
Well, I'm going to pass off to Doug here. He's got his own personal experience with his own wellness program that we worked on together, and I'll let him talk a little bit about his experience.
Because you have a hyperbaric chamber, don't you?
I do, and visiting with Ted and really trying to work through some of the details. I understand some of the science behind it. Well, I understand the science behind it. Ted certainly has a lot more experience, brings a lot more to the table. But through some of the research and seeing some of the, I'll almost call them miracles that people have experienced, I thought it'd just be good to have it. And I know someone personally who's in their 90s. And if you looked at this person, you would not think they're in their 90s. Their mind is so sharp. They function so well. And they always seem so healthy. But after conversations with Ted and we talked about different things, I decided to get one. And I have had some breakthroughs, I suppose you could say.
Why don't you describe that? Like, what, do you feel better? Do you feel more like you can think more clearly? Does your body not ache? What
it's
are you?
It's all incremental, but I'll tell you some things that I noticed right off the bat. So about 12 years ago or so, I dropped a big piece of heavy iron off the bench in the shop, and it landed on my toe. Ouch. And it was on my big toe. And that nail as people know, when you smash them, they don't come back real well. This one, over the years, has continued to erode, degrade, to the point that I lost the nail. And I got to tell you that, so well over a year ago, starting on the spirulina and the glutathione, and then doing the chamber, my toenail actually came back. Now that's something that's very visible, tangible, and I mean it was sort of there before, but now it's coming back and it's actually looking healthy and good, and I'm like, this is a little strange, but you know, it could be the effects of the hyperbaric chamber. Thing is, for 12 years, nothing has changed with it other than it's continued to get worse. Now it's gotten better. And I know that's minor, but I'll say overall, for the life I live, for me to function the way I do, I would say the chamber has made a difference. And it is incremental. You don't jump out of it and say, I can leap tall buildings and faster than a speeding locomotive.
LeBron James does, actually.
LeBron can do that. I
He's
cannot.
got his own chamber.
Does
There's
he?
all these athletes that have their own chamber. Trent Luce, our buddy from Nebraska,
Yes.
confirmed with Governor Pete Ricketts that the Cubbies have put soft hyperbaric chambers into their facilities. And these chambers are literally just toggling us at pressure levels that we all experience when we're flying commercially or going, you know, from out of the mountains. You drive basically from 10,000 feet level in the Front Range and Eastern Rockies at the pass and all the way down to Denver, and you're dropping 2 psi, which is half of what Doug's chamber has as a max capacity. But 2 psi is actually the pressure that Dr. Harch and I use to prove with PET scans that we can reverse dementia.
Wow.
I mean, like, how phenomenal is that? We're reversing dementia. I proved it on PET as chair of radiology for UND, working with LSU superstar hyperbaric doc, and literally the world's dean and genius of hyperbaric protocols for bringing people back to life. And do we have the Eden Carlson MRI graphic?
The
that we
brain graphic, if we
Did
could pull that up
I
quickly.
think we may have had that in the list later or earlier.
that the
Yeah,
right one?
and so our ag commissioner's toenail is growing back, which I
never shared that.
I didn't
with you
tell
before.
him that was going to happen. You did tell me about the piece of iron that hit your toe years ago, and I said, yeah, I think I might have said, use that as a pain management index and barometer as to whether this is working for you, because I've employed this in my pain management practice too. But so this is Eden Carlson's brain. In the image on the left, which has underneath the UND label there, that was her brain had shrunk to about what we see in a demented 80 or 90-year-old person. All that white stuff, that's just water. That's just fluid on the brain, so to speak. And the gray stuff, that's the actual brain matter. And so then Dr. Harch put her in his chamber at 1.3 atmospheres room air, not 100% oxygen, because babies are very sensitive to oxygen. And she was 2.5 at the time, and this was a 6-month protocol. And so 6 months later at Arkansas Children's, on the same MRI scanner, we get this image, and she's walking and talking by that point in time.
So she was a drowning victim, right?
Yes. So yeah, I'm sorry if I left that out for the audience, but that's from the scientific standpoint. Dr. Harch and I have the protocols to regrow brain tissue.
Wow. Wow.
So it's like, what the Fogerty? I mean, this is where this needs to be happening in all these hospitals all over the country, and should have been happening years ago. We published that in 2017, and the month before, I had spent 2 hours, basically a one-on-one lecture with Kevin Kramer in his congressional office here in Bismarck at the William Guy Federal Building, and I laid out the whole thing of where we've been and where we're going in the next 5 years. And then we published that Eden Carlson case. And It was probably the world's #1 medical miracle news story in July of 2017.
Wow.
So your toenail has precedent.
Well,
And so for those, I just want to tell our viewers, Doug Goehring is the Ag Commissioner, but you also farm and ranch full-time. You fly overseas at the drop of a hat. Like, you'll be in different countries like twice a month. And so
trade missions.
missions, right. And so it's like you're always on the run. You're always tired. You're always, I mean, you're burning the candle at both ends. And so the Hyperbaric has been maybe keeping that candle not lit quite as hard. Or
I may not feel the impact and the effects from the really busy life
Sure.
as much, but no, I've had a good experience with it, and I want to continue to do it.
Got it. All right, so we're going to talk about that and more when we come back after these messages, because we have so much. I mean, we have so much. We're going to talk about Hyperbaric, more on the spirulina, because we need a little bit more, but that's coming up next on Ladies of Another View on Back.
So there was.
Jeez, what a mess. Look at that. There's roof stuff everywhere. It's so embarrassing. Ruins the neighborhood. Come on, humans. Let's get this fixed.
Don't let your roof go to the dogs. Call America's Best Contractors for your free estimate.
Need a new woof?
After checking with the rest, go with the best. America's Best Contractors. 258-2412. Online at americasbestcontractorsincorporated.com.
Go for Launch 2018 series winner. Without further ado, it is my honors. Regina. The winning team is the Flumin River Excellence.
Oh my God!
They won!
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, inventor of MyPillow. Thanks to your support, you've helped make MyPillow become one of the fastest growing companies in America. Over the last 12 years, you've helped MyPillow create thousands of jobs right here in the USA.
When I got MyPillow, I'm asleep almost immediately. I stay asleep at night and I wake up more well-rested in the morning.
That's why I invented MyPillow. My patented fill adjusts to your exact individual needs and helps keep your neck supported and aligned. I'm interrupting this commercial right now. Retailers have canceled MyPillow, and to thank you for your support, I'm gonna pass the savings directly on to you. For example, you get my 6-piece towel sets, regular $109.99, now only $44.98, or MyPillow dog beds for as low as $19.99 with your promo code.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit mypillow.com.
Ever been in a cave before?
It's our first time.
All right.
Where are you going?
I'll see you at the car! But how will we? The car! Your offer's been accepted. Ever bought a house before?
It's our first time.
All right.
Where are you going?
I'll see you at the closing. But how will we? The closing!
Hey everybody, I'm Doug Billings, your host of The Right Side with Doug Billings on Beck News. We bring you high-profile guests, ladies and gentlemen, exclusive guests. Now, you're not going to see these guests in most of the mainstream media outlets. Another thing that I do here is give guests a platform to speak freely. You're not going to see me censor anybody. Please join us, won't you? Weeknights right here on Beck TV and online at beck.news. Cheers.
Welcome back to Ladies of Another View on Beck. We're visiting with Dr. Ted Fogerty and Ag Commissioner Doug Goehring right here in our studio, and we appreciate both of you coming in. And I know we've made some light-hearted comments in between, and it's always more fun during the commercials, I tell you what. But Amy had a question.
Yeah, Dr. Ted, we have a mutual friend, I believe you might be watching, Marty Beard, who I believe was on the show a little while ago to talk about coon hunting.
Yes, he thought he was.
Yeah, but and brought his trusty dog with him. Our family has known Marty for a very long time. And we know that he suffers with some ailments with COPD, and then also a recent run-in with a horse of his where he wasn't technically bucked off, but he might have been safer if he had been. But he gave that horse a run for his money and unfortunately separated his pelvis. And I know from knowing Marty before and after his use of the hyperbaric chamber, I can attest to, as a person looking in, what a difference it's made for him.
Yeah.
You know, and what a blessing, and we're actually very thankful to you as good friends of his for your knowledge that he's been able to make his life better. He's very important to my son and my husband. We want Uncle Marty around for a long time.
Yeah.
But we all don't have a Dr. Ted in our lives, which I think is sad because some of us have mothers with dementia and other ailments. What and where can we go to help ourselves in this fashion with the hyperbaric chambers?
Couple things, Amy. It's thank you. That's very gracious of you. I have a team put together that is bringing this into America. But Marty is. It was like the Holy Spirit came in and worked some sort of incredible healing magic on him just being frustrated, lying in a hospital bed, and he just told one of my old surgical buddies, Kimber Boyko at Sanford, he's just like, I got to get out of here. Yeah. So then, you know.
And he will.
And he did.
He'll
and
pull
then
those cords out and go.
He gets home and he's in horrible pain, and I just like, well, I was scratching my head. I'm like, well, I've been using these, you know, air chambers for pain management, and I'll bring one of our old ones over and we'll set you up in it and teach you how to use it, and, you know, think about maybe going back to the doctor, but this is what I, you know, just ethically as a human being and a physician who knows that I can help attenuate pain in a human being with that 1.3 atmospheres of room air. That's what I did. So Marty's experience, it's a medical case report actually in the making. And we do have the imaging and all this confirmation of the rapid healing rate in his pelvic injury documented. But here's where Marty is actually bringing hyperbarics into Bismarck and Western North Dakota by getting me and Doc Meyer's team, Carrie Meyer, Doc Meyer's wife, and me and Marty went to the Bismarck Canvas Company about 10 days ago. And I went there and showed the proprietors all the things that we can do with hyperbaric soft chambers. And they started looking at it and said, you know, yeah. And I brought in the same model of chamber that Doug has. And I just said, you know, this doesn't look that hard to build to me. I mean, I'm just a doctor, but can you guys do this? And can you what do you think you can ballpark it in as like for production costs? And they were kind of like, you know, probably easily under $1,000 for production costs. And so I'm like, okay, and I've got some design things that there's some flaws in these designs of these soft chambers. I want to work on getting some prototypes together and with them over the winter here. But, you know, this is where these things take time. You know, you can't just start a production cycle for anything, especially something that's got to have an FDA approval. And
Are you getting a fight back from FDA on that?
No, and I've been taught by the leading manufacturers of the air pressure relief valves. It's Murata Research out of northern Minnesota, right around Crosby, Ironton. All their valves are on like all of the military's boats, inflatable boats, you know, rescue rafts, airplanes. I mean, this one little company in the middle of Minnesota is basically it's their pressure relief valves that are the key widget to making sure that human beings are not in an underinflated raft or in an overinflated airplane that's going to, actually have a spontaneous, decompression at pressure differentials in the air. So this is an incredible group of people that I've been blessed with just coming into my life, who are just like, yeah, okay, go over here. We need to talk to that person. Okay, yeah, and then you talk to that person, and then so
it's all coming together.
It's really kind of is just all coming together out of the backbone of the heartland. I mean, it's like there's all these rural farm families, and just as an aside to a nod to all of my med students in North Dakota that I've taught, I have called down to the Omaha programs and Mayo Clinic and Iowa, and I've always told this about everybody in medicine who are in these big cities, and I'm just like, these kids that are coming off the farms of North Dakota, they are not just smart, they're not just hard workers, they have the creative bricoleur, that's a French term.
Critical thinking skills.
Figure it out, get her done.
Yeah.
We have to.
When I was a city boy and working on my mom's family farm outside of Plattsmouth, Nebraska, it was my freshman year of high school, and I got a stampede going of our cattle. I was trying to get them out of the feedlot and get them up into this little wooded area that I had just roped up with electric fence, and I was just frustrated and basically scared them all off into the cornfield. And then, I had to go basically be a bird dog and run around for 2 hours, keeping them from getting too far out into the field. So, but it's that kind of experience that we are losing in America, that made America great, that is what we need to bring back into America, is the get-her-done rural approach to life. And I told everyone at UND after I left Sanford 5 years ago, I'm going to start a rural radiology, interventional radiology practice, because we need these interventions, we need these skills, we need these
So are you
hardworking
going to get
farmers.
one of these clinics going right here in Bismarck? There's one in Fargo.
Yes. So we're doing Dickinson County, Iowa first.
Okay.
Moplat, Hyperbarics, Bogie, Okoboji. I don't know if there's one of those graphics up there that we have, but Dr. Meyer and I are going to be getting the first clinic up off the ground in Okoboji. And as we get that whole workflow going and figuring out, okay, what works and how do we get people in here, and the next step is to bring it back to Bismarck, and then also to bring it out to Ogallala, where Carol and I are going to be moving to here in the fall. And so we will have Western North Dakota, Western Nebraska, and Western Iowa, kind of a tripartite clinic operations getting going here in the next 2 years. But
so the West has won again.
Yes, but it takes time.
It does. Yeah.
To start a medical clinic in this environment.
Well, I think there's going to be a lot of Sanford employees looking for employment, so it might be to your benefit, to be honest, if they all walk out in November. But we only have a few seconds left, so I want to talk more about the beetroot when we come back, and maybe Doug can kind of fill us in a little bit about that as well. But we'll be right back after this on Ladies of Another View on Beck.
Since opening in Hebron in 1940, Dakota Community Bank and Trust has been your hometown bank. Our mission has been to provide modern banking convenience with old-fashioned hometown service. We've grown with the communities we serve through year-round events, countless sponsorships, and nearly 7,000 hours of volunteering each year. Learn more about our 80-year history at dakotacommunitybank.com.
Hop in the rig and go down the road with me. We'll cover local and national stories that impact you. Down the Road with Joel Heitkamp weekdays at 5:30 Central on Beck News and online at beck.news.
respect, innovation, trust, and excellence. These core values can be seen in every building built by Straightway Construction. In the community for over 15 years, Straightway Construction has become the premier construction company for commercial projects. From dirt to design and framing to finish, Straightway Construction is your #1 choice. You won't have to look far to find a project that has that Straightway touch. Call them today or go online to straightwayconstruction.com and let them make your vision a reality.
Jeez, what a mess. Look at that. There's roof stuff everywhere. It's so embarrassing. Ruins the neighborhood. Come on, humans. Let's get this fixed.
Don't let your roof go to the dogs. Call America's Best Contractors for your free estimate.
Need a new woof?
After checking with the rest, go with the best. America's Best Contractors. 258-2412. Online at americasbestcontractorsincorporated.com.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, inventor of MyPillow. Thanks to your support, you've helped make MyPillow become one of the fastest growing companies in America. Over the last 12 years, you've helped MyPillow create thousands of jobs right here in the USA.
When I got my pillow, I'm asleep almost immediately. I stay asleep at night and I wake up more well-rested in the morning.
That's why I invented MyPillow. My patented fill adjusts to your exact individual needs and helps keep your neck supported and aligned. I'm interrupting this commercial right now. Retailers have canceled MyPillow, and to thank you for your support, I'm gonna pass the savings directly on to you. Go to MyPillow.com right now to get deep discounts on all MyPillow products. For example, you can get my premium MyPillows, regularly $69.98, now just $29.98, the lowest price ever.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit mypillow.com.
Welcome back to Ladies of Another View on Beck. We're visiting with Dr. Ted Fogerty and Ag Commissioner Doug Goehring. And coincidentally, if these hyperbaric chambers are available and we can buy them, we suggest you buy a MyPillow as well to put in your hyperbaric chamber. Am I right?
Yeah, I'm going to actually maybe talk to Mike Lindell about funding our clinic.
That would be super cool.
And the Bismarck Canvas Co.
So let's talk about the beetroot, the spirulina, kind of put it all together, because right now people are worried about the vaccine and that it's attacking our body inside. So tell us what any of this can do. We have about 10 minutes.
Okay, so basically the most dangerous protein sequence on the planet is the spike protein. And so however that ever got into coronavirus, I don't care, but we now have American companies like Johnson & Johnson who have genetically engineered a different cold virus, adenovirus, with the most dangerous protein sequence, mRNA sequence, on the planet. And so the spike protein is basically just molecular glue for your capillaries, and it goes in there, and once you start producing it yourself, in order to create a response, you are at risk of having these bad outcomes that are directly from the virus anyway. And so when you think about it from a Hippocratic ethical standpoint, as a scientist and a physician, I can't, it is the worst idea ever to take the most dangerous protein sequence and use it as the keystone to the vaccine technologies coming out.
Wow. Well, and Johnson & Johnson can't even make baby powder. You get cancer from that, or there has been, right?
Yeah.
And so now they're making vaccines.
And so I'm just going to say it out loud here, but the people in the know in medicine and science who are behind these bad ideas are war criminals. And they have misled us as American citizens and taxpayers. And we funded all of this research. At some level, there is not a single dollar spent in healthcare that is not somehow tied to the American taxpayer.
Well, and you had said earlier the spirulina studies, that was taxpayer funded too. They know it works, but yet we can't use it for any relief for COVID, or they don't recommend it. It's not on the protocol to help with COVID symptoms.
Right, but now here's where we have a big time physics anchor in naturopathic medicine of hyperbaric chambers, and the phase 2 trial for hyperbarics for COVID, severe COVID, is proving, which we all know from translational science, it's proving beyond a doubt that there's no ventilator that can even touch the physics and power of a hyperbaric chamber, saturating your entire body with oxygen when you have this molecular glue floating through your capillaries called the spike protein. And again, whether it's from COVID-19 or COVID-23 or whatever the next genetic mutation rate of these RNA viruses is so high that we've never been able to produce an HIV vaccine. The lead time on all of these vaccines for RNA viruses always leaves us with a vaccine that doesn't work. You know, the whole influenza vaccine production cycle.
That's just
fraught
a
with
guess.
problems.
Yeah, that's just a guess.
Exactly.
At what's
And you
going
have to
on.
take it every year, and if you don't, then you've just
Because
reset
it
it.
mutates every year.
Yep.
And
it's just a
yes,
fact.
there's
Yeah.
just all of this. It's racketeering and marketeering and sales for basically having a government contractor of sorts that gets free money from us to produce a product that doesn't work.
Wow. And you're paying for that, people. We're paying for that.
I don't know. What do you think about that as an ag commissioner?
Well, one of the things I would actually say, it's probably on a side note to that, but it's more so about the fact that we have turned so much of our lives over to this, and we trust politicians. And I got to tell you, people, as an elected official and a politician, we should have to prove ourselves to you. And I understand that the human component of who we are is when we're fearful, we're frightened, we're supposed to have the answers. And governors, presidents, politicians in general don't have an answer for you. Pretty soon they're willing to grab at anything. And why not isolate? Why not look for anything that you believe is going to help people? The problem is some of it's not even scientific. I'm more concerned about our liberties that are being stolen away from us.
Mm-hmm.
I'm more concerned about, we live in the United States of America, and we have organizations, we have government that is starting to impose their will on us and telling us that you have to be vaccinated. Well, guess what, folks? I can't be vaccinated for a respiratory virus because I had Guillain-Barré or French polio, which came from influenza.
Mm-hmm.
And 30 years ago, my doctor said, you should never get vaccinated. If you do, you could trigger French polio, and by doing so, you could go paralyzed and you could even die. So for me, it's deadly.
Well,
that's influenza. This thing,
and for others who, and this is really going on, we have confused immune systems.
Yes.
And so there are people who have already had COVID, maybe even a mild case, and who are getting vaccinated, and they don't really need it. And so there's a phenomenal breakthrough science that happened in the midst of this pandemic. And it's a T-cell assay that then can characterize whether you have the real army of your cellular immunity is your T-cells. And there's a small Washington startup company
and your B cells.
Right, but so the B cells are like producing drones, and those fall off the radar, but the T cells are still circulating.
Yep. Yep.
And but when you look at this again from Hippocratic, international human rights protocols, concepts, Nuremberg, ethics, the government is not to be telling us what we're putting in our bodies. A procedure mandated by a government is exactly what the Nuremberg protocols and ethics are all about, stopping that. And so, and even just from a common sense country doc point of view, none of my colleagues in rural medicine or even in the big cities that are not affiliated with vaccine markets, when we have a patient that has a problem, even if we're doing a screening mammography test, you know, there's no problem there at baseline, but we are documenting thoroughly that you have a legitimate need for a next product, intervention,
therapy,
whatever.
Yep.
But this whole mantra that has come out of public health, which has literally taken over nearly every governmental entity in this country in a reverse engineered scamdemic. This whole public health mantra that, oh, we've got to do what's good for the herd, and we're not going to protect the infirmed in the herd who have genomic issues, pre-existing conditions, and we're not going to check our work. Do you really need a booster? Do you really need the vaccine because you've already had the infection? And it would be like if all of the radiologists of the country said, hey, look, these kids keep moving on our CT scanners, so instead of just doing one CT and billing one CT, we're going to just preemptively do 4 CTs on every kid that comes through the ER because we can save time and money and we can then bill for that too.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because we don't get a diagnostic quality exam on every single cut out of 60 that I'm reading every night around the country on these kids coming into the ER. There's always some motion artifact, and it's like, well, you know, you don't do that to people. You don't. It's like you get what you got. You figure out the basic tenets of medicine. You figure out what the person needs, and an individual relationship between patient and physician. And so when there's all these nurses basically practicing medicine in the public health, Burleigh County or whatever, and somebody has a reaction and they go home and a day later it's like, who's accountable for that?
Right. Well, we have so much more to talk about. I mean, and I can tell, I mean, we're all getting worked up over it because it's scary, but we're going to take a quick break and we're going to let Doug Goehring go this time. He's got another meeting to get to, but we'll be right back after these messages on Ladies of Another View on Back.
Respect, innovation, trust, and excellence. These core values can be seen in every building built by Straightway Construction. In the community for over 15 years, Straightway Construction has become the premier construction company for commercial projects. From dirt to design and framing to finish, Straightway Construction is your #1 choice. You won't have to look far to find a project that has that Straightway touch. Call them today or go online to straightwayconstruction.com and let them make your vision a reality.
Deciding how to promote your business can be hard. Visit the professionals at Dakota Promotions and Printing and let them help you through your struggle. Dakota Promotions provides promotional items and apparel from corporate gifts to team shirts and everything in between. With quick turnaround times and friendly service, they are your best choice. And best yet, you're shopping local. Visit them online at dakotapromo.com or stop in their showroom at 320 West Main in Mandan. Dakota Promotions, delivering promotions just for you.
Calling all first responders. Join us Saturday, July 31st for First Responders Night at the Bismarck Event Center. The Bucks take on the Green Bay Blizzard with a 7:10 p.m. Central Time kickoff, and will highlight those who serve and protect our communities. For more information on tickets, visit bismarckbucks.com and download your free general admission ticket today. Saturday, July 31st, it's the Blizzard versus your Bismarck Bucks. See you on the 31st. Go Bucks!
Every great pizza has a secret. At New York To Go, that secret lies in our perfectly recreated New York water, the key ingredient to making our signature New York-style pizza. We also feature gyros, with the region's only gyro meat spit, plus Nathan's hot dogs, calzones, and our delicious jumbo buffalo wings. Try a 14-inch or our special giant 20-inch pizza tonight. You gotta know how to fold them if you want to hold them. New York To Go, we deliver for you.
40 years ago, Aero Service Team started with one truck and lots of hard work.
Times may have changed, but the hard work that we put in to get your lives back in order after fire, water, and disaster hasn't.
Over the years, we've seen so many families lose their belongings due to water and fire damage. Restoring homes back to the original state has made every hour of hard work well worth it.
Thank you for trusting our family with yours.
When disaster strikes, you only have to make one call. Aero Service Team does it all.
I'm Rick Becker from No Apologies. Welcome to your after hours oasis of sanity. Watch us weeknights at 9 Central on Beck News and online at beck.news.
Could you do us a favor? Beck TV is a finalist for Best Local TV Station in the Bismarck Tribune's Best of the Best. Vote now through August 9th by text or online. Vote for your leader in local, Beck TV.
Welcome back to Ladies of Another View on Beck. You know, on that last commercial, don't forget to text the best of the best. We really, I mean, Beck is doing great things, and we would like everyone to know about it, okay? So, but with that being said, let's try to wrap it all up and put a nice little bow on it.
Bring it home.
Bring it home. What would you like to leave our viewers with?
Okay, I'm going to bring it home for you, Amy.
Thanks.
And Mary. Right home to Bismarck. So, Dr. Link, Leslie Link, she's the one that worked with me, with Doug, on creating the North Dakota Medical Countermeasures, which is ProImmune mixed with beetroot and spirulina. So
And those things we can buy where? Locally?
You can get the ProImmune at Dakota Pharmacy, and then you can go to any of the health food stores, but I mean, just personally for me, it's closest on the way home from the hospital. I just stop at Natural Grocers, and I get the organic beetroot dry powder, one package of that, and a little bottle of powdered spirulina, earth-rise spirulina. And then I just basically take a single teaspoon of the spirulina and put it in the ProImmune canister, and then 2 teaspoons of the beetroot, and then shake it up and down, and voila. There you have the North Dakota countermeasures.
And so it looks like a little tiny ketchup
This
bottle?
this is the ProImmune product that you can get at Dakota Pharmacy.
Okay.
And then, so there's a lot of independent docs in town that we're all kind of working together and also have our own little things going on. But so Dr. Link is actually our state's first naturopathic physician. And she has literally, I've laid my own eyes on her cases. She has literally brought people from the brink of death from cancer in combination with her colleague, Glenn Highland, working with our city's oncologists and boosting these people's immune systems also for their next round of chemotherapy and surgery and all these other things. So Dr. Link is an incredible gem of our community. And circling back also again to Doug being here, when I wrote the grant up for the North Dakota Medical Countermeasures, it was for not just creating the purple powder with the ProImmune, but it was also in getting her clinic 2 brand new wheelchair accessible hyperbaric chambers that we could also use to help people who are coming down with long hauler syndrome and people who have had COVID and they're not recovering. And so there's an access point there at Core Strategies. I am an access point for a number of people who, I mean, people can find me on Facebook and get a hold of me.
And we have your credentials. We can get that popped up too.
I'm basically doing telemedicine out of my home, taking care of people with COVID and getting them ivermectin and other things.
So does it help if you had the vaccine as well to kind of try to get rid of some of whatever is in your system?
Yeah, so the beetroot, again, I have a friend who got vaccinated because he can't practice law without a face mask in North Dakota courts, and he's a crackerjack attorney, and he needs to be able to convey visual information through his facial expression. So he didn't want to get the shot, but he ended up getting the shot, and it really knocked him down. And I said, get on this right away. He's got a bunch in his home already, and the North Dakota countermeasures, and it's perking them right back up. And so these are real medicinal foods, basically, that I have brought into our wonderful state, and with the gracious support of our ag commissioner and my wonderful former students and colleagues and all these people who are just like, you know what, keep going, Fogerty. What the Fogerty? Let's give him
So I know you keep saying what the Fogerty. I
that.
just have to show this. What the Fogerty. It is a cup that he has, and it was just so sweet, and we do thank you for that, because it's what the heck, you know, basically it just sums it all up.
Yep.
But we appreciate the brilliance that you bring to Beck. We only have a minute left, so we just appreciate you coming on our show and sharing this information, because it's important that our viewers and everyone, that the information gets out there, that it is not a death sentence. You just need the beetroot, ivermectin, just a few little things you can buy over the counter, and you can beat this.
Yes.
And even people that are dealing with stress from your workplace, and people that, you know, I have a friend that has cancer. I'm going to be emailing her today saying, hey, let's get you on this.
Wonderful.
For everyone.
And I want to thank you guys and Beck Communications, because this is an important platform for our community and our state, and there's nothing like it. There's nothing else like it. And I know from being on other media outlets around the state, I can't talk like I can with you.
Oh, we appreciate
on those
that.
outlets.
We're going to have you come back, though, because we have simply run out of time. So we want to thank you, and we'll see you next time right here on Ladies of Another View on Beck.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, inventor of MyPillow. Just like you, I had problems sleeping. I tried every pillow out there and nothing worked. 15 years ago, I invented MyPillow. It took me 2 years to develop because I wanted to have everything you would ever want in a pillow. I made sure that you could adjust my patented fill so you could have the exact support you need as an individual regardless of your sleep position. I also wanted a pillow that would last, so I made MyPillow machine washable and dryable. I back MyPillow with a 10-year warranty and a 60-day money-back guarantee. Not only that, I do all my own manufacturing in my home state of Minnesota.
I really like the fact that it was made in the USA. I think that USA products are a better quality product. I've tried a lot of other pillows and nothing's worked like MyPillow.
I'm interrupting this commercial right now. Retailers have canceled MyPillow, and to thank you for your support, I'm going to pass the savings directly on to you. For example, you get my 6-piece towel sets, regular $109.99, now only $44.98, or MyPillow dog beds for as low as $19.99 with your promo code.
I used to think that sheets were just sheets. I got the Giza Dream sheets. They are the most comfortable sheets I've ever had.
The Go Anywhere pillow is so easy to just roll up and take anywhere I want to go.
Go Anywhere pillow is really comfortable, so that's what I really like. It's nice and supportive, and it's nice and small.
The MyPillow topper, for the first time, has enabled me to have a cool night's sleep. I'm able to go to bed and just get rest.
That's 3 inches of wonderful that's in the MyPillow mattress topper. It's just like a firm cloud.
MyPillow helps me get a good night's sleep so I can do my job in the morning.
Go to MyPillow.com to get deep discounts, not just on my pillows, but so much more. For example, you get my 6-piece towel sets, regular $109.99, now only $44.98, or MyPillow dog beds for as low as $19.99 with your promo code.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit MyPillow.com.